Dragon Ball Super episode 59 was a really cool episode with a lot of suspenseful moments. Though this wasn't a major episode in terms of actions, it still had decent animation quality. I like how each and every episode of this arc has been maintaining its production standards. There was a 1-week break before this episode, and the online active DB community got some spoilers during this. We already knew the main plot of this episode. We knew that Zamasu will try to kill Gowasu, and then Beerus would finally interfere and destroy Zamasu. Even after knowing all that, I still felt very excited while watching this episode. The story presentation, music and all built up the suspense in a proper way, and at the end paid us off well. Overall, I'm rating this episode 7.8 out of 10. And obviously, I am recommending you to watch it. Actually, all episodes of this arc have been, at the very least, above average and certainly worth the time for a Dragon Ball fan. In the previous episode, Whis and company, using the clues they got from Zuno and the future timeline, tried to figure out the mystery behind Zamasu and Black. Even though they couldn't decode all the riddles, they were able to figure out that Present Zamasu will break bad and try to kill Gowasu, so they head right off to understand Kaioshin's place. But the real problem was that they all came to these conclusions based on assumptions. One thing I really liked about this episode was that all the characters, especially Beerus and Whis, carried out their job in a really logical, godly manner. I think specifically the episode added some really next level character development for Beerus. In the past, he was generally presented as a god of destruction who just destroys stuff without too much thinking or without a valid reason. It is true to some extent, but I always thought it was not as illogical as it appeared. I mean, Beerus is the god of destruction. He has to destroy life forms and planets to maintain balance. We see that he destroyed half of a planet just because he didn't like their food. But I think that's his style of doing things. Doesn't necessarily mean he destroyed only because the food isn't good enough. You understand what I'm saying? However, all that apart, this case was truly different, and Beerus just had to act very sensibly. They masked the original reason for which they appeared in Gowasu's place, saying Goku wanted to fight Zamasu again. Obviously, Goku idiotically was trying to protest that. Not in this particular scenario, but in DBS overall. Don't you think Goku lacks seriousness by way too much? I understand how Goku is a character who is supposed to be that simple-minded guy, and this depiction of him is probably truer to the way he was originally shown in the manga by Akira Toriyama. But I personally feel that the way Goku was presented in Dragon Ball Z was rather perfect. I loved the things they added to him and how he could get serious when it was required. I personally feel in DBS, Goku is just way too childish and they dumbed down him a little bit too much. I'm almost okay with that. I just want them to make him just a little bit more serious and just a bit more intelligent. Anyways, that's just my personal opinion. Back to the case, the reason Beerus couldn't destroy Zamasu right away, even though being completely aware of his intentions, is because Zamasu is supposed to be the next Kaioshin, that is the god of creation of Universe 10. So Beerus just can't kill him based on speculation or just because he felt that he has the urge to kill Gowasu. Because killing of someone from the god kind must require some accountability. So they decide to wait in the space and observe what happens in the staff of Whis. They wait till the point Zamasu actually commits the crime. They play some suspense game here. It looks like Zamasu is slightly hesitant, however, he tells Gowasu that he now agrees with him about the mortals. Sometimes evil might be necessary for the greater good. That's a play on words right there, because even Zamasu knows that killing Gowasu is evil, but he's doing that for the greater good. So like it was mentioned in the preview summary, we see Zamasu kills Gowasu, but Gowasu doesn't remain dead as Whis reverses back time and stops the incident. Now that Beerus have concrete evidence against Zamasu, he earned the right to destroy, and the way he destroyed him was just amazing. Totally 7-star. Beerus annihilates Zamasu in a single blow. It's like he didn't have to do anything at all. He just said destroy and that was it. Zamasu wiped out of existence. It was obvious that Beerus would have no difficulty destroying Zamasu, but the way they showed it was just amazing. I loved the background music and everything about it. This calm Beerus looked so much scarier. It was a good reminder for us to who Beerus really is. Beerus being a god of destruction after a long time. In short, Zamasu was dealt with in a really godly manner. In between these incidents, we see segments from the art and the future timeline. We see this really cool scene where Kid Trunks tries to motivate his future self, challenging him to a fight. Kid Trunks vs Future Trunks was fun to watch. Lately, I think Kid Trunks was just hanging around, not doing much, so this adds some development to his character. In the future timeline, we see random emotional shits of Mai and others. I think that part is getting kind of stale, not adding much value. They could highlight the resistance army more instead. But look at Yajirobe. The guy gained some muscles in the future. We also see Zamasu and Black from the future timeline, but they are in a really great environment. Every time the future timeline was shown, it looked very much destroyed and dark. So they might be sitting in a place which they didn't destroy yet, or who knows, they could even be in another timeline or something crazy like that. Things are really confusing at this point of time. Anything can happen. However, Beerus, after destroying Present Zamasu, thinks their problem is solved. But we all know from what has been shown in the past, in DBZ universe, timelines don't work like that. Changing past or future doesn't change the other timeline in any direct manner. Future Trunks points that out and even says the last time he killed androids in the past, it did nothing to the ones in his timeline. That's obvious, we the fans know this system of the time, but here's something Beerus adds, that is, the case is different for gods. If a god destroys a god, then they are wiped out from all of the existence or something like that. But then later we see in episode 60 preview, Zamasu and Black are still alive and okay in the furniture. So what could be the reason? Was Beerus just simply wrong about it? But in that case, Whis would be correcting him, and he is pretty knowledgeable about these things. So I think if a god of destruction destroys something, it is supposed to be destroyed from all timelines. But because Zamasu and Black already did something exceptional with the time ring or the super dragon balls, this method did not work. The time ring thing could be very complex if the plot wants it to be. What if Zamasu went into the future and already created multiple versions of him throughout different points of the time? So I guess we can't but wait for the answers in the coming episodes. From the Dragon Ball Super episode 60 preview, it looks like this time we will get some really solid information regarding the identity of Goku Black. I'll do a complete breakdown of episode 60 trailer very soon. Subscribe if you don't want to miss that. Like our Facebook page Dragon Ball Fans, link attached in the description. Comment your opinion down below. See you in the next video.